Morning, everyone. My name is Mandi Sangmala. I'm from the University of Zululand. I was doing my master's in computer science, and this year I'll be working. Should I say where?
Morning, everyone. My name is Malinko Singwenya. I was a software developer before, and then I'm a data scientist now. And then I studied at UNISA. I did my master's last year, and then I work for TPME.
Morning. My name is Tulani. I'm doing my honors in computer science at VET this year. Thanks.
So we are the presidential hotline team. So an overview of the presidential hotline, it's a service that was introduced by the government in 2009 to improve the public service provisioning to citizens. So the service, how it works, it's referred as a last resort. Due to that, a person who issues cases or report cases to the presidential hotline, a person should have gone the normal procedures of reporting a case, meaning that they would have went to the municipality in their proximity and reported the case, and by the time they see that the case hasn't been solved, so they can contact the presidential hotline, of which you can reach it through fax, email, toll-free line, and fax. So this will be the content of our presentation. On the project that we are doing, this is the outline of the processes that we went through. So the problem that we wanted to solve is that whenever cases are issued on the presidential hotline, they are issued and then they are processed or forwarded to different departments. And it has been encountered that when the cases have been allocated to different departments, some cases are not properly allocated, which means that a case that was supposed to be on another department is found in a different one. So misclassification of cases is an issue. So the main question that we wanted to answer is, how can efficiency be achieved to correctly categorize the reported cases on the presidential hotline, and also to improve the case resolution. And other questions of interest were based on the historical data of the presidential hotline, what insights based on user perspective we can obtain, and also what are the existing, how can we improve the existing presidential hotline system or service in order to improve the better communication between the government and the citizen. So our data set it ranges from 2009 when the presidential hotline was first started until 2017 March. So it consists of about that number of records, and we have structured and unstructured data. As seen on the slide, there's a table. So it's in a form of data, it's a structured, but on an unstructured form is that on a case description or case summary, we have other information of which, like location and specific location where the case or where the person is from, of which that is also of significance, of which it would have been useful for analytics. So the type of cases that are issued on the presidential hotline are not limited to complaints, information inquiry, compliments about the services, and such actions. And to improve the analytics and to get more insight, we also added some features on the data frame that we were given. So we added some information from State SA, which consisted of population in a particular province, and also the satisfaction of the service. And also we added case duration, of which was based on months and days.
Okay, the first thing that we did, like when we received the data, we cleaned it because like some of the fields were not useful. For an example, if you wanted to extract information about the date, the data type that was was used, like it was not, like we couldn't use it. So like we had to normalize the data and find like a common way like of identifying or maybe passing like a date format. So we removed null values like empty values like in the data set, because we didn't want the model that we are going to train to be subject to errors because of null values. We also removed like non-alpha numeric characters in the case description. You find that sometimes like in the case description, like they add a lot of information, and most of the time like they would even be spelling mistakes. There would be a lot of alphanumeric characters like colon and semicolon. So we removed those because like they wouldn't add value like to training the model. And then we also dealt with spelling by using like a Jarrow-Winkler algorithm, like where we compared like two words. Our gold standard like for comparing was that like we used WordNet. WordNet is sort of like a dictionary, so like it has like a library of it has like a dictionary of all the words that we need. So like we compared against the WordNet, and then we find out that actually the misspelled word was supposed to be like this. And then for feature selection, because like we had to train a model, like, so we selected features. Selecting features is what we used like to train a model. So like we tokenized the documents. The documents, we mean the documents by the case description. When somebody describes the case that like I want an RTP or something, and then that is what like the document is like in our case. So we tokenized the document. Tokenizing means that like we're breaking it down like into token of words, and then we created an index like where we identified each and every position of a word, and then we created word vectors. Word vectors now is when you transform the words into their context. And then since Mandisa has mentioned like part of the task that we needed to do from those questions, so like we identified like two analytics methods that we needed to use. So that was descriptive and predictive. So for descriptive, like actually we wanted to extract information from the data set of the presidential hotline. We wanted to know from the inception of the presidential hotline in 2009, what has been happening, what are the cases that are more dominant, like in certain provinces, what value can we create from that data? So our findings was that like the decrease like in the use of the presidential over time, like it shows that like it is decreasing, and then so like this could be used like as an indicator that the presidential hotline, maybe like the presidential hotline team can focus on. So we also find out that the actual average time that it takes a case to be resolved, it depends on municipalities. So you find that Johannesburg municipality takes less time than another municipality. And then like cases that are reported, like they include like more than one category. Those are one of the difficulties that we encountered, that a text, like each case might have like multiple descriptions, like where someone says multiple requests like in one request. And then we did like the predictive analytics. With the predictive analytics, that is where like we are looking into the future, that we want to predict like similar words. Also wanted to identify similarities between like cases of the future. For an example, from the model that we have trained, we had a lot of documents. So those documents is what we used we trained using the old documents, so that if ever someone now like were to type something like in the case, the system would be able to tell you which category can you select. So we use like a doc2vec for that, as well as we tried out like LSA and LDA, but Doc2Vec like proved to work that. And then for validating the model, we adjusted the number of word vectors. Adjusting the number of word vectors means that from the vector space, we just limit, or maybe we just maximize the number of words that we want to identify. We also identified stop words. Stop words are words that can cause the model to perform poorly. So we identified stop words. Stop words are words like they, yours, ours, all of these that are listed there. So you can add even more words that causes the model to perform poorly. So I'll hand over to Lani to continue.
So when we were designing the whole application, we imagined a system where everyone, a central system where both the citizens and the government officials can use without having a system for the citizens and another one for the officials. So we decided to design a web app which can accommodate both the citizens and the officials at the same time. So our main users for our application are going to be the ministers, the DPME officials, and the citizens. And then we also have a dashboard where some insights from the data we received can be visualized on the dashboard. And then the citizens can also get some information without calling or contacting the hotline. Like some information can be readily provided. Like if someone wants to know who's the minister of so-and-so or what place, they can get the information already provided on the website. So our proposed solution consists of two things, mainly a dashboard for the data visualizations and the web app for the logging of cases and the viewing of data. And then we faced some challenges during our development, which included, as Mandla had said, some people, there were spelling errors in most province names, and then some people specify like 2 different locations in one text. And then for our recommendations for the phase 2 is to have a system which will align all cases with the 14 outcomes of the government. And then we also plan to show case distributions on a map to show which provinces have the highest number of complaints or issues. We also want to develop a system which will ensure that case priority is taken into account. And then we want to explore other data sets. And then one of our aims is to design a system that will accommodate even disabled people. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mandisa Nxumalo. I'm from the Presidential Hotline team. So what we do, the objective of our project was to be the model that will help the Presidential Hotline service to improve how they categorize cases, and it went well. Thank you.